Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public information nonpartisan program designed to get you acquainted with the candidates running in the 2024 primary election for Salem City Mayor, Salem City Council, Marion County Commissioner, and Polk County Commissioner. These interviews were created by Capital Community Media with assistance from American Association of University Women and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties. All candidates were invited to attend, and all but one chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions prepared by the League of Women Voters in advance. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening covering their background and qualifications for the office and a 2-minute closing. I'm Alice LaViolette with the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties, and I would like to introduce Dr. Irvin Brown, who is running for Councilor of Ward 5. Candidate Brown, welcome, and we look forward to your opening remarks.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. So when I think about, the why that I'm here, born and raised in Louisiana, I'm one of 7 siblings, and I think back about my parents because they're the real reason why I'm here today. My parents, they really instilled in me what it means to work hard and to give back. And so thinking about service is everything. Knowing how to be supportive, knowing how to be available. And growing up as a young man, my dad was in the Army, and then I was surrounded by a lot of different military figures. And my older siblings, 2 of them actually joined the military also. And so yours truly, I joined the Navy. And so when I think about the Navy and being a veteran, again, it's about service, it's about giving back. And so when I think about what it takes to be a representative for the city of Salem, for me, it's about service. It's about rolling up your sleeves and deciding to get dirty, to lean into the conversation, and also to represent those particular voices that probably have not been heard. And so when I think about what it takes to serve in this city, I think about advocacy. I think about what it takes to make sure that we actually see everyone, hear all voices, and also making sure that when we look around the table, making sure that we have a clear representation of the city speaking for the city.
Thank you, Candidate Brown. Now for our first question. Many residents may not understand the role of council members. Why should they be interested in this race?
Well, when you think about getting involved in local politics, this would be a great place to start. When I think about the role of being a city councilor, I can definitely tell you this. It's not about the money, because these positions, there's not a dime to it. If anything, I'm losing money. But it's not like losing it, I'm giving it away. I'm committing to servitude. And so when I think about being a city councilor in this role, I live in a neighborhood that I'm surrounded with some great neighbors. I can go knock on their door, and they can come knock on mine. And so I see it as a way of giving back, and I see it as an opportunity to where I can not only serve locally, but I can have an immediate impact to make sure that all the citizens here have a good representation.
Thank you for that answer. For our next question, how would you work on communication and outreach to local groups and institutions to improve collaboration on shared issues and problems?
So communication is key. One of the breakdowns that I've always seen is that sometimes if there's information that comes down from the top, somewhere in the middle or maybe closer to the bottom, the information may not get there. So how do we work on that? Being a veteran and being a policy advisor for the state of Oregon, I know what it takes to collaborate. I can look around the room and say, hey, so-and-so is missing. Or we can take a look around and ask ourselves, what businesses, what organizations are not here? And if we use an equity lens is going to guarantee that, hey, Irvin, you're going to see something and you want to make sure that what you see is a good representation of the people that are in the city. So when it comes to collaboration, I believe in making sure that all voices can be heard, all faces can be seen, and making sure that everything that we share can be given to the individual that's right down the street living in my neighborhood. So it's about collaboration, and it's making sure that we have that information to share with everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. For our next question, the City Council has acknowledged homelessness as a critical issue in our community. What are some of the new proposals to address the needs of the unsheltered?
That's a big question. It's an important question, but it's also hard to answer. We just finished the short session, and we know that the governor has allotted $300+ million when it comes to working with our unsheltered population. Here's the tricky part. The tricky part is, yes, there's a lot of money that's here, but how does it get down to the people that can actually make sure that those individuals who are on the streets that have access to those resources? So access is key. And what keeps an individual from having access? There's barriers that are there. So I think in order to make sure that we can help every individual is making sure that we can remove those barriers. Just like today, I had the opportunity to be on a ride-along with the Salem PD, and I was surrounded by a lot of people that were on the street. And so something tells me good work is happening, but we got to do more. And I'm a firm believer that we just can't throw money at the situation, but we got to make sure that we are speaking the language and making sure that every individual on the street is heard. Because just because you give someone a place to live doesn't mean that they have the full capacity to know what it takes to take care of themselves. So it's about making sure that the individual is taken care of first. What are their needs? Physical needs, mental needs, emotional needs. I think all those matter in order for all the unsheltered to make sure that they're taken care of. So it's not just having a place to sleep at night, but it's making sure that all the other necessities are taken care of as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Our next question is, how have building codes been altered, especially concerning permitting processes, and what is middle housing?
Middle housing. Well, when I think about those individuals that do not have a place to live, I'm not exactly sure when it comes to what codes have been changed. I'm not aware of that. But I do believe when it comes time to making sure that middle housing, making sure that those individuals who do not have a place to live, you got to have affordable housing. And I do know that a lot of great work has taken place in the city when we think about Sequoia Crossings, making sure that when we build units in this city, we want to make sure that there are affordable units in those buildings. So when you think about what it's going to take to make sure that every person has a place to live, that middle housing is going to say, hey, we have a place for you. In essence, I have a mortgage. I have a mortgage, which also dictates that I have a job. But everyone is not going to have that luxury or that liberty to have that. And so now you got to ask yourself, how do we help someone else when it comes to having a place to live? Yours truly, I have no jurisdiction when it comes to interest rates. So there's a component in here that a city councilor can do some things, but without the state and federal help, there's a lot that the councilor cannot do. So again, here comes the work of collaboration.
Thank you for that. Our next question is, what are some of your top priorities and strategies listed in Salem's recently adopted Climate Action Plan?
So when I think about my top 3 priorities, I have at least 15, but I'll give you only 3. The first one is going to be public safety. As I mentioned earlier, public safety is everything to every individual in this city. When I think about what our first responders have to do on a day-to-day basis, it's one thing for you to have an issue or a problem at 1 o'clock in the morning. If I have a problem at 1 o'clock in the morning, if someone has broken into my home or maybe my loved one is sick, if I dial 911, I want to make sure that someone's going to show up. I want to make sure that that individual who's going to show up, that they're well rested, that they have the capacity to make sure that they're there. And I know here in this city, we need more first responders, not less. And so when I think about my top priority, it's going to be public safety. Second, it's going to be collaboration. I believe being a part of the team. And being a part of the team means that every individual needs to not only have on a uniform, but making sure that you're out there. Making sure that you not only have a voice, but you are giving a contribution. And the third one, most importantly, it's one of the governor's top priorities. Yes, we know it's the homelessness. Yes, we know it's the unsheltered. And if I throw money at the problem, that's not a guarantee that it's going to be fixed. So just because you have millions of dollars, that's not a guarantee that every homeless individual is going to get off the streets, because there are some individuals that are okay with living on the street. So how do you fix that? So collaboration means that there are some tough and difficult questions that we have to ask, but we also got to be ready for the answer. because some of our answers may make us be uncomfortable. And I'm okay with being uncomfortable, because as long as we can get the work done and get the question answered, it's a win-win.
Thank you. For our next question, when you research issues important to the city, how do you prepare and what resources do you use?
Well, I'm a nerd. I love to read. I surround myself with all types of books and literature. And when I think about research for me is I enjoy it. Just today I was having a conversation with the officer that I was with, and we talked about everything from his family to how long he has served, his desires to retire in the city. And I asked him a key question. I said, when you think about what it takes to do your role, can you please share with me how long you think you'll be able to do it? He wants to do 25 plus years here. So that tells me this. I got to do the research to make sure that this police officer has everything that he needs, not only for himself, but for his family. So research says, listen to the person, hear their story. Now go to the facts, validate that. What does history have to tell us about our city? And I'm a firm believer that if we don't know our history, we will repeat it. So if we want to have a city that is sustainable, where every voice is heard and face recognized, we got to know our history so we don't repeat it.
We have I'll just do one more question for you. What decisions should be made about our city infrastructure features?
Well, our infrastructure downtown, we have a lot of old buildings. And when you think about the old buildings, we also know that some of them, we got to do a lot of repair work. For example, we think about electric vehicles, EVs. Some people like them, some people hate them. There's nothing wrong with having an electric vehicle. Given, of course, if there's a fire, who do you call to put that out? Even the fire department would tell you there's problems when it comes to those batteries, because if there's going to be an explosion downtown, they simply have to wait it out. And then once they wait it out, where does the car go then? So when you think about the infrastructure downtown, there's a lot that we have to do just to maintain the capacity for those types of vehicles. And when you think about the older buildings, which buildings are we going to repair? Which ones are we going to take down? So to have those types of conversations, it's not just with the city councilors, but it's also the community. That's where it's important to make sure that we have a collaboration not only with our neighborhood associations, but also with the developers, our builders, with city management. We got to make sure that whatever we're going to do downtown, that it's not only attractive for tourists, but it's also a place that's livable. It's a place that's enjoyable. I think we're on the right track, but at the same time, I think there's a lot more good work that we need to do.
Thank you for your thoughtfulness in answering these questions. Now, please share your 2 minutes closing comments about your goals for this office and tell our viewers how they can contact you for more information.
Well, contacting me is fairly easy. It's going to be electirvinmbrown@gmail.com. When I think about what it's going to take in this city, it's going to take what you and I are doing right now, sitting and talking. But hopefully we'll have the opportunity to have some good engagement to where we can both ask each other questions. That's making sure that there's communication going on. So one of my top priorities, yes, is collaboration, but it's also having a conversation. It's getting to know people. It's getting to know people at all different levels and ages. Because we got to make sure that whether you're in West Salem, South Salem, East Salem, or like me, I live in North Salem, every ward matters. There's not one ward more important than the other. And when you have any trivial situation going on, or when you decide to put one ward against the other, you're going to have division. And I'm a firm believer, as a veteran, we got to bring everybody together. And I believe this wholeheartedly. You and I, yes, we can agree to disagree, but let's not be disagreeable, right? Let's still enjoy each other. Let's have civil discourse. Let's sit in a room to say, hey, we're in this together. Win or lose, we are in this together. And I believe it's important for everyone to know that whether you're in office or you're not in office, whether you have a job or whether you're retired, whether you're married or you're single, whether you're a student in high school or whether you're a student in college, whether you're black, white, or you're part of the gay community, you matter. And we got to make sure that we have a clear representation of all voices and all faces if we're going to make Salem the great city that we know it is and that it's going to be.
Thank you, Candidate Brown, for your interview today and for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
And thank you, Capital Community Media, for their help with the technology and production used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties for the design and preparation of the program. And thanks to you for watching in order to become a more informed voter. For more local, state, national, nonpartisan information on candidates and ballot measures, visit the League's website at vote411.org after April 15th, when candidate data will be uploaded. You have until April 30th to register to vote or update your registration. Ballots will go out on May 1st. They need to be postmarked on or by May 21st to be counted. Elections matter. Remember to vote, because your vote counts.